Hello there, welcome to the programme. It's a challenge to find any form of market asset that is immune from the fortunes of the Chinese economy. China growth is also a topic of debate because so much of the global economy relies on it. And when it comes to data reports, much of them are taken with a pinch of salt. So today I'm joined by a businessman working in China. It's Randeep Grewal, the chairman and the CEO of Green Dragon Gas. Hello to you. So we want your insight. You work in China. You know this country. What's it like?
Stable is one simple word to put forward. We've been there since 1991, so we've seen transitions of government a few times. And the great thing about the Chinese government transition is that there isn't a policy transition. There are policy themes. Each leader has a theme that he's passionate about, and he certainly has supported, and we've seen 3 leaders go through. We're on to our third with President Xi Jinping. Fantastic leadership, stability, which as a domestic Chinese worker, but a foreign investor, is the best thing about the investment, is the stability.
You think it is a misconception that the government gets involved and holds companies back?
Government does not get involved at all. So yes, it is a misconception. In fact, the government sometimes unfairly gets blamed or credited with doing certain things to hold companies back. It's just not the truth. I haven't seen that in 20 years. My experience has been that the government very clearly is a policy-setting enterprise, if you will. Its policies clearly affect the commercial business that you are conducting, but these policies are never a surprise. You know about them 5 years in advance. So as a businessman or person, it's up to you to adjust your commercial enterprise, predicting the policy will come into effect. I don't know what other part in the world we get that opportunity. In China, we do.
And tell me about capital controls.
So capital control is an issue in China today. The government did act rather swiftly in shutting down the flight of capital, if you will. And what they've done is eliminated the speculators that were playing into the currency exchange while they controlled the stability of the exchange rate. Clearly, that has had an effect across the board. You've seen M&A transactions slow down. You've had companies, including us, that take RMB back into dollars that used to take a few days, used to take a few hours, I beg your pardon. It's now taking days, if not a week to 10 days. So clearly there's a slow movement of currency being exchanged from RMB into dollars, which wasn't there, for example, a year ago.
The yuan has got a lot of headlines this week for the fluctuations. Are you concerned about that?
I think when you're working in a foreign jurisdiction, whether it's China or anything else, foreign exchange is an issue, has to be thought through. In our case, 100% of our revenues are in RMB, and 100% of our investment till date has been in dollars. So we are clearly concerned about that exchange rate. And over the last 20 years, we've gone from a fixed peg of 827, 825, all the way to 625. So that in itself is an exchange that you have to manage carefully. I think going forward, because of the political stability and the capital stability, I think we'll have exchange stability. I think the government is working through how to make it a bit more flexible, but at 6.8, it's not a bad exchange rate.
And just while we're talking about the currency, in the US presidential campaign, the president now, Donald Trump, he was saying that China's a currency manipulator, and he was quite rude, if you like, about their economy and their country and the way that it's run. Now he's very complimentary. Is it because of the currency?
Both presidents are managing their respective countries in the best way they can. I think when it comes to the currency, China must, just like Donald Trump is looking after America first, China must look after China first. And to implement Chinese policy for the Chinese economy, one in China must look after the currency. So, whatever term you'd like to apply to is a personal choice. But I look at executives leading their domestic enterprises to the best of their people. That's what I see every day.
2 years ago, in August, we witnessed the stock market crash, pretty much. Do you think that there's a danger that might ever happen again?
Crashes, I mean, in my view, that was I'm not sure it was a crash that lasted for exactly.
I'm being dramatic.
Yeah. It was just like a glitch at best.
Okay.
You have a lot of growth that over the last 20 years, and there is a clear term called growing pains. And I think, as I said earlier, in this particular case, there's not an example of this incredible execution by the central government of China to grow the country over 20 years and bring 1.3 billion people out of poverty into sustainability, at least half of them. So along that way, you might have a glitch along the way. It's just a glitch. One has to look at it over a longer period of time, not in a particular day, weeks, or even months for that matter. So my view of China is over 20 years, and it's been a great experience.
Okay. And just one more thing I'm going to ask your opinion on is the property market bubble, which a lot of people talk about, saying it's the biggest threat to the Chinese economy. Would you go along with that?
I do think property is an issue. I think that there's a lot of land in China, but the land is a bit lopsided in terms of a lot of people from the fields and the farms coming into the cities. So there was clearly a lot of development that took place rather quickly. But the cities are now going into suburbia, which is something new for China. So just like every other part of the world, people came to central London, and suburbia of London has become part of London. The same thing is taking place in China. So you do, in my personal view, have a bit of a lopsided property value, where I don't see Chinese property, especially second and third tier cities, having a bubble. The bubbles, I think, are in big cities where initially those high rises went up and they were priced extremely high. But as suburbia comes in, clearly the property value, in my view, over time will go down and not up.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Randeep Grewal, thank you very much indeed for your time today from Green Dragon Gas, talking about the Chinese economy.